Welcome to the Nail Engineer, and today we've got my Shunbun No Hi Japanese spring manicure, which I'm calling Spring Geisha, and we're going to be using the direct decal technique to produce this coloured in stamping image, and I call it direct decal because it's like making a decal except you stamp it directly onto the nail once conditions are perfect. This image actually comes from a Moyou plate, and it's Suki number 11, and it's this image here, and there's another image, this little pagoda on this plate that I've also used in this mani. On the other fingers we've got the blossoms, and I've used, this is a really cool like layering plate, and because you can layer up all of your stuff. These are the stamping polishes that I've used. Esmaltes Da Kelly Pinguino in black, Doguito for Geisha's face, which is a flesh colour. Her lips are in Joanna. Flufi is the pink of the blossoms. We've got Max, which is the colour of her fan. And then her little tiara is in Model's Own Chrome Rose. And finally we've got this brown NYC New York colour quick dry polish in chocolate spread, which I've used for all the twiggy bits. Onto polishes, and I've used Pure Nails Halo gel polish in pink diamond, and I've had this on a few people including myself, and I've also got their rose gold one, and I will say that they've worn very well, but my one criticism of this is that the glitter particles are so chunky that it can be impossible to get a smooth finish, and if you look real closely there you can see it's a bit kind of like lumpy bumpy, and it doesn't seem to matter how long I let it set though, it just does that. So and on all of the other fingers I'm wearing Gel Bottle Inc V102. The first thing that we're going to do is make the direct decal of the geisha. You really need to leave enough time for the polish to dry fully before it goes on the nail. As you can see here, even though I let this one dry for quite a while, we have like a little acne problem just going on here, and that's because it's obviously a solvent, and solvents evaporate, producing a gas as they cure, so you end up with little lumpy bumpies. So let's take my black Pinguino stamping polish, and I found that swiping this way is the best way, and swiping gently to avoid getting any voids, because there is quite a large area there in the hair. So it's the usual drill of getting rid of details that I'm not wanting on the final manicure. Now we're ready to start doing the direct decal. So I'm just getting a tiny little bit of red. I'm just putting like little geisha lips, and don't worry if you go behind the black line, you won't see that. So just hand painting it on just like that, if you can see, and you can tell if it looks right if you just flip over your stamp, and there you can see she's got a little geisha lips. So the next thing is going to be to fill in the face, and this is the thing that takes like all of the time to dry. Okay, so thank God that's done, and you can see that I've tried to just keep it as thin as I can, which is difficult because quite thick polish, and as uniform as I can so it doesn't kind of show through too lumpy underneath. So next up I'm using my Max, and the idea again is just to get a good amount of this on so that hopefully I can just spread it out in one and not be going over the same area more than once. I just kind of like take that in a diagonal line down and then just kind of spread from that line just to fill in the rest of the image. So the final bit that we need to do is just her little kind of headdress tiara thing, whatever it is. And for that I'm using the Rose Gold Model Zone Rose Chrome polish. I'm just getting a good sized blob on my brush and just trying to do it in one swipe if possible, because then we've got least chance of smudging. So we're just going to let that dry for quite a long time. You'll see that it's looking very shiny, and it's a real fine line with this direct decaling. It's a judgment call and you're going to have to practice it. I can't give you the magic formula for it. All I can say is after it starts to look dull, with most of the polishes, you can then get away with popping it on the nail, but with Doguito it needs to be that bit drier. And what I'm going to have to do is probably give it at least 10 minutes, probably 15 minutes, and then come back and see if it's okay. And even then, when I put it on the nail, I'm going to have to leave it on the nail and be very, very, very careful not to damage it for at least another 20 minutes, half an hour, until I'm absolutely sure that it's dry. So my direct decal has gone a little bit dull now, and hopefully it won't be still wet, and also it won't be too dry that it won't transfer onto the nail, because it's always kind of Russian roulette with these. Conditions really have to be perfect. So you can see there that I've just smooshed it down, and you've got to be really, really, really careful when you're lifting up, just to make sure that it's coming off the stamp correctly. And you really have to kind of squish down sometimes, and just by trial and error kind of lift it very, very carefully off the nail. Now I can see that I've got a little bit of awkwardness here. Let me see if I can just salvage this off screen. Okay, so I have managed to salvage most of it, and the useful tool here are these silicone tools, which if it ends up smudged a little bit, you can just use to carefully kind of pat down your still tacky polish, because it does still have to be a little bit tacky to adhere to the nail, but not so tacky that it kind of just runs everywhere. Now you can see here that we've got a couple of bits. Oh, I can't turn around that way. We've got a couple of bits on her hair, just need a little touch up there, and we've got a tiny little bit here of a fan missing, so I'm just going to hand detail those in. Okay, so while the geisha is drying off, let's crack on with the little blossom trees. And actually I'm just going to do all of the wood stuff straight off the bat, get that out of the way. So I've just picked up my image, taken off the excess. This one's going to be for my pinky. There. And just be careful if you're using this same polish, because it's a bit of a tricky one and it likes to stay on the stamper like that. So you might have to do it in a couple of attempts. There we go. Finally, it's on. And for the middle finger, before I put anything on, I really need to put this little green line and pagoda on, which like kind of gives the suggestion that it's on a hill. So much for getting all the wood stuff out of the way. So first off, let's have the pagoda. and we'll pick off any unwanted bits. That needs to be towards the pinky side and hopefully not upside down. And it's about halfway up the nail, I would say. Like that. And no trouble with Esmaltes Da Kelly sticking on the nail. No trouble at all. But then again, it is proper stamp and polish. Now, for my hill that's going to be going down this way this time, I need just some curvy sweeping lines. And I think I'll use this bit. And for that is a magic polish, which I didn't even mention in the intro, sorry. It's Model's Own Chameleon. I think probably about that will do. There we go. And now I can pop my tree on the top. I'm using plenty of this NYC polish since it's not like a dedicated stamping polish, so it is a little bit wishy-washy. And again, just taking care to kind of push on the opposite side to the side that I'm rolling off, to just try and keep that pressure on there to stop it from lifting the polish back off. And apologies if you couldn't see that, I didn't realise that it was going out of focus. And now finally we're going to do the sticks, and that's these images here. All I do is get my polish, and if I play my cards right, I can probably pick them up in one. There we go. So we've got all the wooden bits, the pagoda, twiggy stuff, etc. Geisha is still drying off, so let's get on with the blossoms, which are the easiest bit to do by far. And it's dead simple. Just pick it up, get rid of your excess, and then the cool part about these clear jelly stamper layering plates is you can just kind of hover over and touch down, and there it is. Ah, lovely. And on the middle finger I'm going to do exactly the same thing, except I'm going to use this image here. Actually, I think I might use the middle one instead, because it's just a little bit more spread out, because I'm going to actually stamp twice because this is a larger tree. So I want to go kind of on one side like that, and then just go again, and again we'll take the excess away. And then this time I'll be going kind of overlaying and going on the other side, and this time I'm going to see where it's going. So there we go. So that's that on, and you'll see on the other one that I've got like a little bit of scatter on the ground. I think we'll go for that one. I'll do. And I don't want all of this, I just want like a little smattering. So I'm just gonna cherry pick the best bit. I think that'll do quite nicely. And we'll just scatter that on the ground, just at the foot of the tree there. There we go. So last bit of stamping to do is on our twigs, using these. And try not to tip everything everywhere. and you just want to kind of line them up vaguely and then just layer it until you've got the amount that you want. Basically, all I'm going to do now is do matte top coat once Geisha is fully dry. So I'll do that and then I'll come back with the final look. So here's the finished mani. You can see this is my Japanese Shunbun No Hi Spring Festival inspired manicure, aka Spring Geisha, and there's my geishas together. I hope you enjoyed this manicure. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.